Bilingual teaching. Bilingual teaching. The bilingual method developed by C.J. Dodson in 1967 is a language teaching approach that uses both the mother tongue and the target language. It aims to facilitate understanding by using the learner's native language to explain concepts in the target language. This method helps bridge gaps in comprehension and can be particularly useful in early stages of learning or when teaching complex concepts. Bilingual method is one of many teaching methods of English language. This method of teaching foreign language was developed by C.J. Dodson in 1967. The method is used where two language, that is, the mother tongue and target language, are used. In this method, the mother tongue is used to achieve the target language. Bilingual teaching. The method is based on the principle of similarities and differences which is found between the two languages. These may be of situation, sounds, vocabulary, structures, etc. In bilingual teaching, the method based on the principle of similarities and differences between language involves several key elements. Number one, situational context. Teacher helps students understand how similar situations are described or handled in both languages, facilitating contextual learning and application. Sounds, phonetics. Teachers emphasize phonetic similarities and differences to aid pronunciation and listening skills. For instance, they might compare sounds that exist in one language but not in the other. Vocabulary. Instruction include comparison vocabulary items between the two languages, highlighting cognates, similar words, and false friends, words that look similar but differ in meaning. Structure. Teachers explain grammatical structures in both languages, pointing out similarities and differences in syntax, verb conjugations, and sentence formation. Principles of bilingual teaching method. The understanding of words and sentences in foreign language can be made easier by the use of mother tongue. In the bilingual method, the use of the mother tongue, native language, is incorporated to make understanding easier. This contrasts with the direct method, which typically avoid the use of the native language to immerse learners directly in the target language. By explaining concepts, words, and sentence in the native language, learners can grasp meaning more effectively, especially in the early stages of learning. Next, there is no need to create artificial situations for explaining the meaning of words and sentence of the targeted language. Unlike the grammar translation method, which often involves artificial context and rote memorization of grammar rules and vocabulary, the bilingual method emphasizes using the native language to explain and clarify meaning in a more practical and contextualized way. This helps avoid the creation of contrived situations and promotes a more intuitive understanding of the target language. Next, bilingual method is a combination of the direct method and grammar translation method. Combination of approaches. The bilingual method merges the direct method's focus on practical language use and immersion with the grammar translation method's emphasis on grammar and translation. It aims to balance practical communication skills with a clear understanding of grammatical rules, providing a more comprehensive approach to language learning. Characteristics of bilingual method. Permits the use of first language. This method allows the use of the learner's native language to facilitate understanding and provide context, making it easier to grasp complex concepts in the target language. Next, teacher is not required to make situations. Unlike some other methods, the bilingual method doesn't require the teacher to create specific language learning situations. Instead, it relies on the natural use of the first and target languages. Next, sentence. Sentence is the unit of teaching. Instruction focuses on teaching complete sentences rather than isolated words or phrases. This approach aims to help learners understand and use language in practical communicative context. Next, intensive practice in sentence patterns. There is a strong emphasis on practicing and mastering common sentence structures and patterns to build fluency and accuracy in the target language. Next, restricted use of mother tongue. While the mother tongue is permitted, its use is kept to a minimum to encourage more immersion and practice in the target language. Emphasis on pronunciation. The method places importance on correct pronunciation to ensure clear and effective communication in the target language. Next, consideration for all skills. The bilingual method addresses all language skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, ensuring a comprehensive approach to language learning. This method aims to balance the use of the native language with the development of target language proficiency, providing a structured yet flexible approach to learning. Advantages of bilingual method. The teacher can save time as the mother tongue is used. The use of the mother tongue allows for quicker explanations and clarifications, saving time in the learning process. Teachers can convey complex ideas more efficiently without needing to constantly translate or simplify concepts in the target language. Next, an average teacher can use this method in a class. This method is user-friendly for teachers, including those who may not be highly specialized in language instruction. The reliance on the mother tongue and sentence pattern simplifies the teaching processes. This method is less costly as the use of teaching aids is minimum. Since this method requires minimal teaching aids and resources, it is less expensive to implement. The focus is more on direct interaction and practice rather than on elaborate materials. Mother tongue acquisition rules are helpful in this method. The method leverages the natural rules and structures of the learner's native language to aid in understanding and using the target language. By relating new language structures to familiar patterns in the mother tongue, learners can more easily grasp and apply these structures. Overall, the bilingual method provides a practical, cost-effective approach that capitalizes on the learner's existing linguistic knowledge to facilitate new language acquisition. Disadvantages of bilingual method. It cannot be applied in multilinguistic group. Limited applicability. It may not be effective in multilingual groups where students speak different native languages. It requires teachers well versed in both languages. Teachers' proficiency is required. Teachers need to be proficient in both languages, which may not always be feasible. Frequent comparison and contrast with mother tongue may cause confusion. Frequent comparison and contrast between the target language and the mother tongue might lead to confusion. It may degenerate into translation method. There is a risk that students might rely too heavily on translation rather than developing language skills directly. This method diverges the attention of the students. The focus on explanation in two languages might detract from the attention needed for effective learning in either language. Disadvantages of bilingual method: spoils the continuity and fluency of the language. Relying on both languages can interrupt the immersion process, hindering the smooth flow of learning and reducing the time spent directly engaging with the target language. Can lead defective pronunciation. Using the native language may lead to interference with the pronunciation of the target language, as students might carry over pronunciation habit from the first language. Danger of the bad habit of learning everything by filtering through mother tongue. Students might develop a habit of translating everything through their native language, which can slow down the learning process and prevent them from thinking directly in the target language. Reduce student exposure to the target language. When the native language is used frequently, students may have less exposure to and practice with the target language, limiting the opportunities to develop language skills in a natural context. It ignores fundamental aims of English language teaching. The fundamental goals of language teaching often include developing direct comprehension and communication skills in the target language. Using the bilingual method may undermine these aims by overly relying on the native language and not focusing enough on immersive learning experiences.